Welcome back to another edition of The Breakdown, you all. Today I'm continuing a series about an early look at the Alabama team for the 2018 season that's coming up. I'm going to talk about the Alabama recruiting class for the 2018 year. Well, at least so far. Signing day hasn't gotten here yet. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up because, as I told you in the previous video, Alabama is a little thin on depth for the upcoming season in certain positions, particularly on that D-line and in the secondary. And the reason why I wanted to bring this video out is because already we see with the 2018 recruiting class so far, they're obviously addressing some of those areas of need. So first of all, Alabama has 5 defensive ends committed already, and they have 2 defensive tackles, guys who will play nose guard, a la like the Ron Payne's position from the previous year. Now, I'm going to start there before I go anywhere else. Alabama has Yabi Anoma. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. Somebody can correct me. But he's a defensive end. He's 6'6", 223 pounds, 5-star guy. Weak side defensive end. Obviously, bringing him in to provide some pass rush. And you got Stephon Wynn, who's 6'4", 279. Jordan Davis, who's 6'5", 238. Jerez Parks, who was going to sign in the previous year, but he's a 4-star guy who decided to who Alabama asked to Glacier, and he did. And then you have Cameron Latu, who's 6'5", 236. And one thing I noticed in particular is that, well, yeah, Alabama now has the bodies. They have guys who can come in and maybe play if they put them in a certain position. But 3 of these guys are below 240 pounds, and one of them is below 230 pounds. That's not a typical Alabama defensive line, so I'm interested to see how much will these guys actually play, at least on this defensive end spot. Will they come in and try to build up some weight, and if they can't, will they redshirt, or will Alabama put them on the field this year? That is something to keep in mind. Like I said, this is early though. We're in January of 2018. They come in, spring, summer, whenever they may come in, and they got time to build up something. But we'll see. Now, defensive tackles, they obviously had to address that spot. Like I said, they only had 1 guy returning who played the nose guard spot, who played any significant minutes, and that's Johnny Dwight, number 95. So Alabama brought in Christian Barmore, who's 6'5", 290, and they brought in Bobby Brown, who's 6'4", 270. So obviously they got to bring some people in here who can one, be death for Johnny Dwight. You can't play the whole game. But 2, probably make an impact in pass rushing. They're not as big as they used to be. Nick Saban's first big nose tackles was Terrence Cody, and he obviously doesn't recruit guys that huge anymore, at least unless they're extremely athletic. So addressing areas of need in the front 7, specifically on the D-line, that is very important that you see that here. Now, what I have noticed is that they didn't address guys who can play middle linebacker. They didn't really, so far I don't really see a guy like that in this recruiting class, so that's really interesting. Like I said in the previous video, there's Dylan Moses, Mack Wilson. Most likely going to be the starters for this upcoming season. Really talented guys. I think they'll play well together. It'll be great to see them on the field at the same time. But behind them, Keith Holcomb and Joshua McMillan. 2 guys who've been here for a while, know the system, know what they're doing, but don't necessarily light the world on fire athletically. So, if they don't bring in, kind of some of those middle linebacker types, they're going to be relying on them to stay healthy this year. So that is something to keep an eye on. But Alabama does have a linebacker commit, like Quay Walker, they characterize him as an outside linebacker, and you never know how Nick Saban's going to do the guys. Sometimes he moves them around, has guys play multiple positions. So I'm not really worried about it, but I'm just bringing up these ideas so you all can think through it, and you can let me know what you think about it. Now, Alabama addressed the secondary big time, too. They got 3 cornerbacks so far already. Like I said before, I told you in the previous video, Alabama's secondary is completely new. Everybody who started at every position is gone from the secondary. They're all gone. And Alabama had to bring in some depth because the only guys returning, you got like Nigel Knott, who's a reserve. Then you have Tyreek McDonald, who's a reserve. And the starters most likely will be Trevon Diggs, Jerry Maiden, and Shaheem Carter. So they had to get some guys who can play behind these guys. Because your cornerback, somebody's going to come out, you got to rest, you got to have some backups. So in this recruiting class, they got Savion Smith, who's already on the campus practicing and whatnot, 6'1", 185. JUCO guy, started out at LSU, now he's coming to Alabama. You got Josh Jobe, so a true freshman to be coming in, and Jalen Armour Davis, who will also be a true freshman coming in He's only 165, so they might have to put on some weight for him too. So those are the true cornerbacks that are coming in. Not to mention that Alabama has 3 athletes recruited who I think they can do both positions, but from what I've heard so far, probably looking to put them in at defense. And those 3 are Xavier Williams, Vernon Jackson, who's huge. I think he might be a safety, 6'3", 228 pounds. And Slade Bolden, who's a bit smaller, maybe a corner, 5'11", 195. So I expect these guys to all come in and get some reps at DB, whatever that may be, cornerback, nickelback, free safety, strong safety, dime back. They're probably going to be working them around everywhere and trying to see who fits where, who fits what position the best, because Alabama's going to need some depth, and they're going to need some guys to play behind the starters for this upcoming season, because, like I said, the numbers get thin. But the recruiting class isn't over. Alabama still has time to bring even more people in. I'm never worried about the guys developing and Nick Saban finding players, because they're always there for Alabama when they need them. So that just wanted to get this video out to kind of show you what Alabama's doing to address some of those areas of need. And we'll see how this works out. Let me know your thoughts on these things. Leave your comments in the comment section. I want to know who you're looking forward to. Who do you think is going to provide some depth and some experience and probably meaningful playing time for Alabama from this recruiting class, or even just in general. Waiting on your thoughts, and I'll be responding to them. And, of course, we're going to keep going at it, talking football until the season starts. See you next time.